Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, a financial penalty for those who don't buy health insurance.
Without the mandate, everybody's premiums go up. Without the mandate, your costs of health care go up.
Why Governor Gavin Newsom says new rules are needed to keep insurance costs down. And the debate over where people can park and sleep in San Diego. The city council considers whether to revive its ban on living in cars.
We have to pay a lot of people in cash, which can be very challenging. We have to have security, armed security at all times.
The problem for the cannabis industry, as more states legalize it, there's still no legal way for companies to work with banks.
For every job that's open right now, because we have all these job boards, employers are seeing upwards of 10,000 applicants per position.
And entering the job market after earning a college degree. What are the prospects for the class of 2019? KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. It's Tuesday, May 14th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. A new development in the case against the accused Poway synagogue shooter. Today, he appeared in federal court to face hate crime charges. He pleaded not guilty to more than 100 counts. John Ernest is also charged with murder. One woman was killed and 3 people were wounded during last month's shooting at the Chabad of Poway. Health insurance will be a focus for Governor Gavin Newsom in the days ahead. He wants to include a financial penalty for those who go without coverage. Governor Newsom gave details today in Sacramento. It's the start of a statewide tour to sell the idea, which will include a stop in San Diego. Changes to the state's health insurance laws are part of Newsom's revised budget proposal.
Without the mandate, everybody's premiums go up. Without the mandate, your costs of health care go up. Every single person in the state will experience an increase in their costs if we don't have a diversified risk pool. They're pursuing the elimination of the Affordable Care Act with quite literally, not figuratively, literally nothing proposed in its alternative, absolutely nothing except rhetoric, hot air, misdirection. It's shameful.
New enrollment in Covered California dropped last year. It was the first enrollment period since a change to the Affordable Care Act eliminated the rule on individual coverage. Governor Newsom's plan would provide subsidies for families earning less than $150,000. Lawmakers need to approve a budget by June 15th. Right now, people can sleep or live in a vehicle without getting a ticket, but the city of San Diego might revive its ban. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman has this update.
The City Council is still meeting to discuss the proposed vehicle habitation ordinance. The law would prohibit people from living in their vehicles from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in San Diego. It would also not allow people to live in their cars near homes or schools at any time. The ordinance also lays out what defines vehicle habitation. That includes evidence of sleeping, bathing, or preparing meals in cars. Now, before this meeting today, there was a rally held by people against the ordinance who say they are living in their RVs because they have no other choice.
Living in our vehicles because there's no way we can afford housing on $900 a month disability.
Valerie Grishy says she stays near the beaches and her only income is disability checks, which aren't enough for an apartment.
Even though I'm not paying rent, the $900 doesn't go very far because you also have to pay for gas and repairs.
Grishy says she plans to check out a parking lot opening soon near SDCCU Stadium that's sponsored by the city where people can sleep in cars and RVs overnight.
I think that area was selected because it's particularly undesirable.
Steve Chatsky says he sleeps in an RV around Kearny Mesa and believes people living in vehicles are being vilified.
It seems like certain areas of town that have become gentrified are actively against people who live in their vehicles and will come up with just about anything they can to demonize the people who are living in vehicles.
Chatsky says he's on a list waiting for affordable housing and in the meantime just wants the city to leave him alone.
The best case would be for them to live and let live with people in their vehicles as long as those people are acting responsibly.
Now, San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer says he has received hundreds of complaints of trash and drug use from people living in their vehicles. In terms of affordable housing, the mayor is looking to create more of it. He recently announced the city would be making available 8 properties to build nearly 200 permanent supportive housing units. The council will vote on this vehicle habitation ordinance at some point this evening. If approved, it will come back to the council for a second vote. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Today, the City Council also approved a new plan to regulate electric scooters. The changes will take effect July 1st. They include speed limits in busy pedestrian areas like the Mission Beach Boardwalk and Balboa Park. Also, scooter companies will be required to collect abandoned or illegally parked scooters within 3 hours. The new rules are in response to public complaints about safety. New city jobs, more money for housing incentives, and funding for scooter enforcement. All of this being included in San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer's revised 2020 budget plan. Lynn Walsh explains where this added money will come from.
Mayor Faulconer is increasing his general fund spending for 2020 by more than $6.7 million. The money, he says, is coming from an increase in revenue projections and savings in department budgets. This morning in Balboa Park, the mayor laid out his plans for the additional funds. It includes creating new jobs throughout city departments, including an LGBTQ coordinator, park rangers, and 3 homeless services positions. Bob McElroy, CEO of the Alpha Project, a nonprofit serving the homeless in San Diego, says the additional staff would help his organization get more done.
So I know that there's going to be 3 new staff positions, which will streamline the communication between us and the mayor's office so we can deal with stuff today instead of 2 or 3 days from now.
Other funds would pay for a scooter enforcement project, planting 700 trees and graffiti removal. Council votes on the budget proposal next month. Lynn Walsh, KPBS News.
Tonight in El Cajon, the City Council will hear from those hoping to fill an open council seat. The seat was vacated in March when former council member Ben Colasso resigned. This is video from a KPBS story with Colasso in 2016. Tonight, the City Council will interview 22 people who applied for the position. The person chosen to fill the seat will serve through next year. UC San Diego wants to expand its residential college system. The colleges are designed to offer students a smaller community feel within a larger university environment. Tomorrow, the school will ask the UC Board of Regents to approve a 7th residential college. Each college is capped at 4,000 students, and the school says it needs to keep pace with higher enrollment. As the 2018-2019 school year comes to a close, about 2 million students are expected to earn their bachelor's degrees. So, what's next? We're here now with James Tarbox. He is the Executive Director of Career Services at San Diego State University. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, what would you tell a graduate about what it will take to be successful in, quote, the real world?
That's an excellent question. I think one of the biggest misconceptions that students have, especially in an age where everything's available through an app or online, is that the online job boards are probably the best place to go to apply for positions. And although that can have truth, what they need to know is of those 2 million graduates, approximately 14,000 are applying for every position online. So you've got to really learn to separate yourself. So we're going to kind of go back to basics. And what we're going to do is we're going to really encourage them to understand what do they want from their career, and how are they going to communicate that to an employer, and building a pipeline where they can do that with an employer.
So do you have any idea how many students here at San Diego State University have already lined up jobs?
We do. We do an at-graduation survey. We've been doing these for about 12 years now. And so this year's class, about 40% are telling us that they're employed at graduation. However, and this is really important, and it's why I started off with the advice on the online job boards, is that we are seeing a much higher number in terms of those who are actively seeking. That could be for 2 reasons. One is they could just be starting their job search now, or 2, they haven't qualified in terms of the requirements that employers have. So they're getting into the job market and they're realizing I need to do a lot more to get myself up to speed.
They have this 4-year degree. What makes them more hireable? Like, what do they need to say to sell themselves?
Sure. So what would make them more marketable is if they've done something like an internship. And you need to know that approximately 5% of students who've been reporting to our survey are saying, in essence, I don't feel like I'm prepared right now. I'm going to actually take the next few months to either do an internship to qualify for a job, or I'm going to take the next 6 months to qualify for applying to graduate school. So they really need to focus on those activities that allow them to show that in addition to the bachelor's degree, they've really committed themselves to their career and to what comes next in their life.
And what does the job market look like right about now for a recent graduate?
It looks really good and it looks really competitive. So let me tell you about the really good piece first. NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers, had predicted that there'd be, I think it's a 2% drop for the class of 2019 from the class of 2018. They did a May revise, and in the May revise, they actually ticked it up, I think, to 11%. So, wow, that's really great news. The flip side of that is it's super competitive. I mentioned that for every job that's open right now, because we have all these job boards, employers are seeing upwards of 10,000 applicants per position. So you've got to really find a way to set yourself apart.
Who should go to graduate school?
Who should go to graduate school? I would say someone who should go to graduate school would be someone who's given it a lot of thought and understands that in terms of my career path, this is a good next step. So for example, someone who's really invested in research, and at San Diego State there are lots of opportunities to do that. So if you've worked with a professor, you've co-authored a paper, you've done some significant research and you've qualified yourself, I think that's an excellent next step for you. If you're delaying the process of searching for a job and you have debt and you're not quite sure which degree you want, but you're going to go with the undergraduate major and do the master's level program, it's probably not good for you, and it's not going to be very good for your career at all.
Just some lasting advice. To stand out among 10,000 applicants seems like a very lofty task. What would you say are some of the key things that people should do, or maybe mistakes or things that they don't realize they should do?
So one of the big things that they can do is, and just as a shameless plug, our career fairs are free to all of our alumni for life. They can come at any time that they want to. We offer 9 a year. What they need to be aware of is any career fair is an opportunity for an employer to look at you, to get your resume, and to make a decision if they're going to interview you. So if a student is at a career fair or a networking mixer for a professional association and they meet someone who has an opportunity, be sure to ask, would you mind interviewing me for the opportunity? If you don't ask, you likely won't get interviewed. So that's a big piece. The other piece is, this harkens back to the advice that I offered earlier, which is really understand where you want to take your career and understand the industry and occupation that you want to get into, and be able to talk about how that excellent education, how that internship, how that part-time job, how that volunteer or service learning experience prepared you and allows you to talk the language of the employer and allows you to emphasize those transferable skills that are going to make you an excellent candidate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, tensions rise in the Persian Gulf as the U.S. blames Iran for damaging oil tankers. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Tomorrow is the Green Out, a one-day campaign to spotlight California's legal marijuana industry. Businesses will post on social media to urge people to buy from a legally licensed provider. The Green Out campaign is designed to raise awareness about illegal products that don't meet standards for pesticides and other harmful ingredients. Last night, Evening Edition had a story with a local cannabis grower who talked about these issues. You can watch our report at kpbs.org. The black market is just one problem facing legal marijuana companies. Cash is another. California might establish its own banking system, and other states are trying to figure out their own solution. Elisa Adams from Arizona PBS has more on the challenge for businesses.
Yeah, so these are 15 milligrams a piece.
The medical marijuana business is good.
So the CBD farm caps are going to be 10 a piece.
Very good.
Sitting at $63 right.
By some industry estimates, legal marijuana businesses made over $10 billion in sales in 2018. That's a lot of cash with nowhere to go.
I love it. I enjoy it. It doesn't feel like work.
Marie Saloom got into the medical marijuana business to ensure quality marijuana medication for her husband, who's a patient. And while together they successfully tackled the ins and outs of growing, literally, a highly regulated business, dealing with banks almost had her beat.
At the beginning, I probably had to open every week a bank account, because I already knew that the one that I opened maybe 2 weeks before that, I was about to get a letter. I already knew it, telling me you have this X amount of days before we kick you out.
The cat and mouse game with banks meant she had to find creative ways to pay bills, pay her employees, fund investments. Because the truth is, even 9 years after medical marijuana first became legal in Arizona, cash is still king in most Arizona medical dispensaries.
We have to pay a lot of people in cash, which can be very challenging. We have to have security, armed security at all times. Get cashier's checks or money orders to pay, like just utilities.
Sarah Stalker is the regional manager of Nirvana Center Dispensaries. She spends a lot of extra time and energy trying to do what most businesses with a bank account do easily, like pay taxes.
You have to pay those in cash. It can be scary.
And the dispensaries aren't the only ones nervous about working with this cash. Fear is likely a big reason only an estimated 1 in 30 banks nationwide openly accepts cannabis customers.
The revenue derived from it is considered revenue derived from money laundering.
Paul Hickman is the president and CEO of the Arizona Bankers Association, a trade group for commercial banks. He says many banks actually would like to do business with legal marijuana companies.
Bankers are really good pillars of their community, and they like to build their communities, and they like to make sure that there's legal businesses have a legal outlet to do their financial affairs and their banking.
None of the dozen banks we reached out to would talk on camera. At least one of the 2 banks in the state that works with cannabis told us over the phone they believe the community is safer if all this cash is able to be banked, making it traceable and more transparent. They also said they originally got into the cannabis banking business because they believed it would become legal at the federal level any day. That hasn't happened. Mixed messages from the federal government makes banks wary. In 2013, the Obama administration signed the Cole Memorandum, which essentially said as long as businesses followed state laws, the feds would leave them alone. Then, in 2018, the Trump administration rescinded the Cole Memo, leaving banks to wonder if they were vulnerable again to federal scrutiny.
At first blush, most of the bankers in Arizona aren't any different from most of the banking sector around the country, where they're like, no, I don't want to take on that sort of risk. It's a reputational issue still. It's expensive in terms to set up a system to do it.
In order to work with marijuana businesses, banks have to file a suspicious activity report on every account every 3 months. And with thousands of accounts, that is a lot of paperwork. But it's this kind of regulation that has actually created opportunities for other businesses.
When you're banking a highly regulated industry, there's such a massive regulatory compliance burden, and it's so easy for things to fall through the cracks, so to speak.
Tyler Berlin is an executive with Hyper, a company that essentially offers banks and credit unions a more efficient way of working with cannabis companies. For a fee, they take care of everything from compliance to monitoring and paperwork. They also offer customers a non-cash way to pay for their medication.
It allows for a consumer to download an app. They can set up a quick profile. They can link their checking account to their profile. They can walk into a dispensary. They can check in via phone.
Nirvana Center Dispensaries uses a different digital platform that also specializes in highly regulated industries.
Awesome.
But manager Sarah Stalker says the system doesn't work as seamlessly as, say, a credit or debit card.
They can get double charged sometimes. We have to refund money. It can be frustrating.
Marie Saloom did finally find a bank willing to work with her, and things have gotten easier. But she pays a premium for that ease.
They know they got you, so they charge me outrageous fees, compared to other businesses.
Still, the legal cannabis industry continues to grow.
With the discount today, it looks like you are at $54.68.
Raking in cash that goes back into the economy, with or without the banks.
There you go.
Right on, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, have a great day.
For Arizona PBS, I'm Elisa Adams.
You can find more stories like that one at azpbs.org. Rain is expected later this week in parts of San Diego. Erin Calandra has details in tonight's forecast.
Well, I certainly hope you had a great day. The weather, not bad. We have some sunshine. It's staying nice and dry for now. Notice what's going on to the north of us. There's some rain in Northern California. We're going to see storms coming on in off the coast by Thursday. That rain is going to be spreading south, and we're going to see some of that Thursday, even into Friday morning. But for now, we're still seeing our typical weather pattern. Clouds building overnight, a temperature of 63 for the low. It will still be cloudy when you wake up, and then we'll have some sunshine by the afternoon. So Oceanside reaching 59, and Ramona around 52 degrees, Chula Vista 61 tonight, and Mount Laguna in those upper 40s for our lows. Tomorrow, it's going to be gorgeous, dry and warm. Lots of sunshine to enjoy, but notice that those showers, they're creeping just a little bit further south. And still, we're going to be under a dry pattern. So Oceanside, a few clouds at 70 degrees, El Cajon at 77, and Borrego Springs reaching 93 degrees with sunshine. By the end of the week, a big trough in the jet stream here. We're going to see some of that wet weather and then cooler temperatures, too. You'll notice a change, especially in those deserts. So on Wednesday, we have sunshine at 70 degrees. Thursday, we have those showers. It will be breezy. Friday and Saturday, drier, and then on Sunday, spotty showers should be expected along the coast. Now, in those interior areas, we'll see breezy showers on Thursday as well. It will be drier through Saturday, and then Sunday, the return of showers. In the deserts, it should remain mostly sunny, but there's a chance of a shower on Thursday. Look at the change in the temperature. From Wednesday, we're at 93 degrees. By Thursday, we drop all the way down to 76. So that is going to be a pleasant break. And in the mountains, a shower or two expected on Thursday with a high of only 49 degrees. That means much of the day it's going to be chillier than that. We return to the 50s with sunshine for the rest of the week. For KPBS News, I'm Erin Calandra. Back to you.
Tonight, basketball fans are enjoying a new round of the NBA playoffs. It features the rise of a Greek immigrant in Milwaukee, who has quickly become one of the league's best players. AP reporter Carrie Antelfinger tells us about the Greek Freak.
From Bucks-inspired sandwiches and cookies to giant banners downtown, Milwaukee has high hopes for the Bucks. The team hasn't gotten this far in the playoffs since 2001. Fans say it's long overdue.
You know, you have some losing seasons and you get a little discouraged, but you keep going to the games. And now that they're doing so good, it just, you know, you really feel the energy.
I think they're going to win the NBA championship.
The last time that happened was 1971, nearly 5 decades ago. It's particularly sweet for the tight-knit Greek community in southeastern Wisconsin, population around 10,000. One of the team's and the NBA's biggest stars, Giannis Antetokounmpo, was born in Greece and wears his Greek pride on his sleeve.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
His brother even waved the Greek flag when he was drafted.
And we feel so lucky to have him here because he's immigrated here like a lot of our parents and has that drive and dedication to become a success. And that's something that's, you know, kind of a big attribute in the Greek community.
Fans call him the Greek Freak. Every year the team hosts a Greek night, and the 6'11" power forward makes a point of singing the Greek national anthem. Tim Stasanoulias is the president of the local chapter of a Greek culture advocacy group.
To be able to participate in that with Giannis and him leading us, again, gives you a great deal of pride.
That pride spills over this sandwich named after Antetokounmpo. The restaurant Georgie Porgy's created the Euro Step. It has a burger patty, Euro meat, feta cheese, and tzatziki sauce.
People love it, you know, they love what's going on in the community.
For lifelong fan Steve Atsinis, his connection to the team recently got a lot deeper. His son Dimitri was hit by a car and killed last November. The 26-year-old played basketball in tournaments and was a huge fan of the Greek Freak.
No question has helped these last few months the fact that, you know, the Bucks are a good team. You know, if they weren't, I know that there'd be more sadness in our life.
A player and a team bringing an already tight-knit community closer. Carrie Antelfinger, Associated Press.
Now here's a recap of tonight's top stories. The accused Poway synagogue shooter enters another not guilty plea. It came this afternoon during an arraignment in federal court. The accused shooter is charged with more than 100 counts, including hate crimes. He also pleaded not guilty in his state murder case. Governor Gavin Newsom wants those who don't buy health insurance to pay a fee. He's asking lawmakers to include the changes as part of his budget proposal. The plan also provides subsidies to help people afford premiums. Governor Newsom will tour the state this week to discuss the plan. The tour includes a stop in San Diego. Starting July 1st, the city of San Diego will have new rules for electric scooters. They include speed limits in busy pedestrian areas like the Mission Beach Boardwalk and Balboa Park. Scooter companies will also be required to collect abandoned or illegally parked scooters within 3 hours. And here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. Making the beach more accessible in Coronado. Morning Edition tells us how new technology is allowing people with disabilities and pets to get closer to the water. And on Midday Edition, Bike to Work Day is happening on Thursday. We'll tell you how local cities are making it easy for people who want to take part. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.